All righty. Well, it's approaching 1:03. Oh, there it is. Perfect. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Eileen Hupp. I'm President and CEO of the Palos Verdes Peninsula Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you all today to our weekly series of webinars and Zoom sessions with leaders for our business community. I want to give a huge thank you to our speakers today. We have from the city of Rancho Palos Verdes, Mayor John Cruikshank and City Manager Mihranian. And from the city of Rolling Hills Estates, we have Mayor Velveth Schmitz and City Manager Greg Grammer. I want to give a shout out and thank you to Tony Self, who is our sponsor for these sessions and waving. He is broker owner of Harcourt's Hunter Mason Realty, very engaged in the community as a volunteer and also a very loyal chamber member, helping us with all the technical aspects of these Zoom sessions. So we really appreciate it. As Tony mentioned, we have a large number of participants on the call today. We have over 75 people who have registered. So in order to streamline the question process, we're going to ask you to go down to the Q&A on the bottom of your screen, type your questions in, and we will take them later. Our format will be, we'll start with the city of RPV, then we'll move to the city of Rolling Hills Estates, and then we'll take your questions, and the whole program will wrap up between 45 minutes and an hour, depending on the time that our cities want to take to speak with us, as well as your questions. I do want to say that we have a very broad section of chamber members and industries on the call today. We have hospitals and medical professionals. We have hotels, realtors, nonprofits, senior living centers, medical doctors. We have professional service providers such as CPAs and lawyers. We have restaurants. We have elected officials from other cities, as well as from our school board and our library district. And I believe we even have our sheriff's captain, Captain Jim Powers, on the call as well, or on the session as well. So very broad section of businesses, both small and large, representing a variety of our members. So with that, I'm going to do a very brief introduction of our two speakers from the city of Rancho Palos Verdes, because you'd rather hear them than me. So we're going to start out with Mayor John Cruikshank from the city of Rancho Palos Verdes. John was elected to the city council, I believe, in 2017. Do I have that right?
That's correct.
Okay, got it. And he is a civil engineer by profession. He has both a bachelor's and a master's degree from USC. He is president and CEO of 2 Southern California engineering firms, and he will fill you in on the rest. And then I'll go right ahead and introduce our city manager from Rancho Palos Verdes, Mihranian. Ara is new in his role as the city manager, as is Greg, but both of them have been with each of their respective cities for many, many years, so they have a wealth of experience. They know our cities, they know our community. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Cruikshank. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eileen. Thanks everyone in the Palos Verdes Peninsula Chamber of Commerce for having me today. And Tony, thanks for having me as well. Sounds like a great list of participants as part of the chamber group today. Probably as many of you know, I actually did contract the virus, the COVID-19, back in the early part of March. And I personally went through 4 fairly rough days, I would say, of having the COVID-19. I had 4 days of a headache, lethargy. I never had some of the other chest pains or other coughing that we heard about, but I did have some rough times. On the 23rd of March, I felt better, and I've felt fine ever since. So I just wanted to get it out there to everyone to let you know how I'm doing. And I've had a lot of well-wishers, so I appreciate that. So our city and our city manager, Ara, is going to tell you a lot of details of what our city's been doing. But I will say that, it's been, obviously a challenge for all of us, and certainly the people on the line, the businesses. It's been a real challenge. We've made a lot of changes in our city as well. We've been televising some public service announcements, and then data changes so quickly that those get outdated. So we've had to try to re-record those every week or two. But I wanted the business community and the chamber to know that our city council really does care about our business community. In fact, before all this occurred, we had already been doing things to help our business community. We had eliminated the home-based business license fees for all of our businesses that are located in Rancho Palos Verdes. And so we've always been concerned about our businesses thriving. And clearly this whole pandemic that's been going on has been a real strain on all of us. And so, you know, I'm really glad that Rolling Hills Estates is here with us today. They've really taken a huge lead role in having their city manager, Greg, being able to use his expertise and to work with our new city manager, Aura. They've done a tremendous job of really putting the 4 cities together on the peninsula. Mm-hmm. On our city council, we actually have some very business friendly members. Our Mayor Pro Tem Alegria, he's actually a business owner as well. He owns a fitness gym. He's also a vice president with one of the health partners down in Orange County. Ken Dida, he's a longtime council member. He's also a huge business advocate. Dave Bradley, one of our newer council members, he's an executive with aerospace, one of the aerospace companies. And then finally, we have a teacher on our city council, Barbara Ferraro, and she's very fiscally conservative, but it's great to have someone with her background as a teacher being on our city council. And like was mentioned by Eileen earlier, I do run 2 engineering companies, one in Los Angeles, one in Orange County. I, like probably many of you on this call, did try to apply for this Paycheck Protection Act. I have 20 employees myself. I did not lay any of my employees off. Clearly, I was hoping to get that, and then we heard today that the $350 billion that was advocated has already run out. So it would be interesting to know on the call if any of you actually were able to get any of that money from our federal government. I bet the answer is no, but I would be pleasantly surprised if at least 1 or 2 you did. I want to mention something about our new city manager, Ara Mihranian. This is someone that is new on the job, and he had no idea, or none of us had any idea we'd be dealing with this. But, you know, the great thing about him, and I think the great thing for the chamber to know, is that he cares deeply about our business community. And every day he's on the phone with different businesses, seeing how they're doing, taking calls from them, and we're trying to do everything we can to help them. So I wanted people to know that he is there for our business community if you ever need him. On Monday, we had our city council budget workshop. Of course, I don't know if Rolling Hills Estates has had theirs yet, but that was a pretty brutal workshop talking about the amount of lost revenues. Currently, I did some quick math. It looks like our city is losing during this time about $600,000 a month in revenues, and we're projecting to lose about $250,000 per month over the next through the next year, which, as you can imagine, is going to change the way we do things. And Ara and his team of people that work with him on the city staff, they've actually come up with a number of savings for us so that the city council really has to look at about $700,000 in additional cuts for this year. So basically, what did we do as a city council? So on April 7th, we basically are giving a refund to all the small businesses that paid their business taxes in 2020 that have brick and mortar operations in our city. We'll be paying them back their business license fees. Also, we've authorized to use our CDBG grant funding to help with some of our small businesses. Another thing we want to do is, for us, we don't feel it's the right time to be raising fees or taxes. We want to do whatever we can to help our businesses survive this. And so even things like, at one point we were discussing TOT, possibly raising that because we have one of the lowest. And I think our council basically feels we want to be a competitive city and we want to attract new businesses. So we want to lower our fees so we become a city where you as business owners want to be in our city. For me, I think ultimately it's going to be the businesses and the consumer that end this whole thing, because you're the ones that understand when it's safe and how to make it safe. So anyhow, I want to thank you all for having me today, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mayor. Ara.
Yes. No, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Eileen and Tony, for hosting and for me being part of this unique town hall with my colleagues from Rancho from Rolling Hills Estates, excuse me. It's a little awkward here for me because I've got two screens here and I'm trying not to look at everybody's images here on the other screen. But anyway, so I figured, Eileen, what I'd like to do is just kind of talk about, just to introduce myself to the community and let people know, if you don't know me, that I've been with the city for 21 years, as the mayor indicated. I started in, I guess you could do the math, but I started in 1998 in the community development department. And soon after I started with the city as a planner, I was given many projects, big projects for the city that really helped our businesses. I think the first project I worked on in the late 90s is the Golden Cove, the first phase of the renovations at Golden Cove. And that was when the building, the main supermarket, which I believe was a Safeway market, was vacant for so many years, and then the Montessori school went in there, and so I worked on all those entitlements. And then soon after I did that project, I was assigned the Terranea project, and so I worked on the entitlements and overseeing not only the permitting of that project, but also the construction of that project. So I know Terranea very well, and I've been helping bridge that relationship between the city and Terranea, who is a major contributor to the city's coffers and revenue source. So we're very appreciative of everything that Terranea does. And the other project that I worked on, which I'm sure most residents on the peninsula have heard about, is the Marymount campus project, and all of the years of work on that project. So I was heavily involved in that, but also in addition to those projects, I also worked very closely on the development and formation of the city's Palos Verdes Nature Preserve, which is 1,400 acres of open space. I've been involved with a lot of park projects and trails. I helped secure some grant monies for to construct the city's segment of the California Coastal Trail, which connects, actually, there's a consistent trail that connects from Palos Verdes Estates all the way to the city of Los Angeles. So very proud of that, and all the interpretive panels that put up there. So these years that I've worked with the city, I feel like I've really have a good sense of the community and the concerns and the vision of the community. So bringing it to how it connects to COVID-19, when all of this was emerging, and being newly appointed to the position of city manager, which was on February 4th when it was officially appointed. So all of a sudden, a month or so into it, this pandemic started to emerge, and I feel like my understanding of the community helped me look at what's happening and help move this city forward and how we deal with this. And I'm glad Greg is on this town hall, because I've been working very closely with Greg and the other two cities on the peninsula. In fact, when I stepped into this, I realized there was an alliance that was already formed between the 4 cities on the peninsula. And if anything, I want you to take away is we have, not only in response to this health crisis, but in general, we have been working very closely together to make sure what we tell the residents of the peninsula is consistent, that we're working together, especially when it comes to public safety and emergency preparedness. I think I believe it was Greg that said a few weeks ago, we were on this call, and we're on calls often. I think he said, we've done all this training for an emergency, and here we are in an actual emergency, and we're starting to implement all those measures, and it's so true. And so I think from our perspective, one of the very first things that we wanted to look at is safety. Everybody was very concerned about their well-being, their health, and their safety. And so we immediately implemented measures for our cities, especially Rancho Palos Verdes, and I'll speak on in that regard. Is one of the very first things I wanted to make sure we did was protect and make sure our employees are safe so that we can continue to serve the public. So what we did here at City Hall is we, early in March, when all of this was happening, we shut City Hall down to the public. Didn't mean we weren't coming to work and we weren't providing essential services, but we closed down City Hall to the public. And soon after that, we started to implement measures where many of our staff were working remotely and coming in to City Hall on a rotation basis. So currently, up until May 15th or until we hear otherwise, we're going to continue doing that. We're going to be closed to the public, but we want to be able to continue to provide essential services. You know, construction is still allowed to occur. We're still issuing permits. There's a way to submit all that information to us electronically. We've got 1 or 2 individuals in each of the departments at City Hall who are here to answer your calls or emails. So I want to assure the public that we're trying to maintain essential operations and be here for the community. I think you're hearing so much information. You're constantly asking questions, and we want you to know that your government, your city is here for you. And so feel free to contact us. We've got all this information on the city's website. So with that in mind, I think it's also, a lot of people are very curious. I mean, I know the inquiries I'm getting is like, how is the city being impacted by this health crisis? And so I think I want to, if you don't know, we are keeping count. The county gives us the numbers of cases per city. We know that in Rancho Palos Verdes, as of last night, we have 46 cases, and unfortunately, we've had 2 deaths associated to COVID-19. You know, the safer at home orders were put in place, and just recently, I think it was last Friday, they were extended to May 15th. So we want to just make sure that our public is aware that these orders and the things that we're doing, the measures we're taking, are going to be in place till May 15th. And we're not sure how those are going to be lifted, if they're going to be lifted, and if anything, it'll probably be in some phased approach with physical distancing in mind. And I just want to highlight that I'm using the word physical distancing because I think what the leaders are starting to do is move away from social distancing, because I think it gave a different connotation, and we're really now using the term physical distancing. And effective today, if you haven't heard, it is required that all essential businesses, that's you out there that are providing services that are considered essential, your employees must be wearing face coverings. We've got face coverings. I've got mine here. Every time I step out of I open that door and I step out in the hallway, I'm wearing my mask there. It's not very comfortable, but we all have to play our part in this. And also, when you're out in the public and for community members, when you're going to our local grocery stores and you're supporting our businesses, you do need to wear your face coverings, and that's in effect as of today. So please, there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube and even on our city's website on how you could take a material you have at home and create your own mask and make it unique to yourself and give yourself some identity that way using your mask. Under the umbrella of the discussion on safety, I wanted to just point out, because I've been getting some inquiries about antibody testing. And so I have learned that the Palos Verdes Medical Group here on the Peninsula, located on the 4th floor of the promenade, they're actually offering antibody testing. It's $50. It's not covered by insurance. You have to make an appointment. I'll give you this information, but it's really important. I think what we're learning, and as the science is evolving on this, and as I'm learning, you want to see how your body's immune system can respond to this infection, and whether you've had some immunity to it, whether you've been exposed to it. So the antibody testing is really that opportunity to see where, and to gauge the community and to understand its spread based on each individual's body. So testing is by appointment only. I'm going to read you can call the Palos Verdes Medical Group to schedule this appointment. There's some prerequisites that you need to do. The phone number is 310-544-6858. That's 310-544-6858. And their email is info at pvmedgroup.com. And I'll give you, Eileen, that information, and you could post it on the website.
Yes.
Again, for those of you who use all of the city's open space, trails, and parks, we have closed those temporarily to the public. It's our way of helping out with flattening the spread and the curve of this infection. And so we ask, and I really plead to the community to comply with these closures. I know we're all very frustrated that we want to go out and recreate. I know I'd like to go run the trails, but we are being instructed not to do that. There's too much temptation. And so with that end, I want to just ask that the community out there spread the word not to use our trails. If you need to recreate, which we all do, to walk your neighborhoods and do what you need to do without going into our preserves. As soon as we're able, we'll lift those barricades and open it up for you to enjoy. I mean, I know with the spring season upon us and the flowers and all the rain, we want to be able to enjoy that sooner than later. And under the last thing I want to talk about in regards to safety is Alert South Bay. I know Rolling Hills Estates is part of it. There are 12 other cities in the South Bay that are part of Alert South Bay. It's our way of a platform to communicate to you whenever there's an emergency, how to respond to it, what to do. We're asking you to subscribe. We really want to encourage to get every resident in our city to be a part of that. And also when you're part of it, we can send you information like surveys so we can understand what your needs are and what your concerns are. Then in terms of resources, I want to first focus on information, because I think it was really important to us as all of this was emerging. And I had a conversation with the mayor and the mayor pro tem on a Saturday morning, and to us, it was very important that the community is informed and they know what's going on and understand how the city's responding to it. So that Saturday, which was March 14th, we began issuing what we're calling community updates. And these updates are electronic messages that we put all this information, all the resources, all the latest trends and the case numbers, and we push that out to the community using our listserv on breaking news. If you're not a subscriber, go to the city's website, go to Notify Me. There's a link there. You could subscribe to this, to breaking news or any other category or topic you're interested in. We're also posting it on our social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, Nextdoor, or Twitter or Instagram. Please, it's a great way to get information. We'll put it out. It's usually in the early evening of each day that we put that out, because we spend the whole day compiling all the information, getting the numbers from the county so we could put that out. I want to talk about financial assistance, because I think, like the mayor indicated, it's one of the founding reasons for Rancho Palos Verdes was not only to protect and preserve the quality of life, but to help our businesses, because when our businesses succeed, the city succeeds. And so when you're hurting, we're hurting too. And so early on, the council wanted to understand what the city can do to help our businesses in light of this current crisis. And so on April 7th, the city council looked at a few options and directed staff to proceed with two. One was to actually refund all of our businesses with gross receipt sales of 1.5 million or less. So falling under their a definition of a small business, will refund you immediately. And there's an application on the city's website, your business license tax. I know it may not be a lot of money, but it's enough to help you get by and pay a few bills here. And the other thing is looking at our CDBG monies, and this is different than what the county's program is. We've got some excess money that we didn't use. We've been consulting with our counterparts with the county, and they've indicated we could use that money, which is approximately $100,000 that we have as bridge loans to our residents. I have to be honest, we're still kind of working out the logistics behind that and being able to offer that loan. So be patient with us. I've gotten some emails over the last few days with interest in how to go about it. We'll put you in touch with the finance department, and as we get more information, we'll try to get that out as soon as possible. We want to implement that. But that leads me to some of the programs that are being offered out there. In addition to what the city is providing, the county is helping out. They're really stepping up and trying to help with some of the things that the mayor was speaking of. I know there's the Small Business Recovery Loan Program, which is using the county's monies for the CDBG, and there's about, I think, and I want to read here, you can get about $20,000 for each small business with a term of 5 years and a minimum interest rate of approximately 4%. So what I would suggest you do, if you want that information, we'll post that link with the chamber, but we have it on our city's dedicated COVID-19 page. And then I also want to talk about the federal Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP. From what I'm hearing, and I know the mayor indicated all the frustration and lack of contact, the county launched a portal where if you haven't been able to get in touch with a financial institution or you're having trouble, you can go to that portal and someone will reach out to you and help you navigate through that process. So I want to make sure, and then that number and the help desk number is 833-238-4450. That's 833-238-4450. And then in regards to, especially for businesses and whether you own an apartment building or you have a commercial business with the city and you've been shut down or you're operating at limited hours, there are programs that the county is offering to help with your rent. You can get $1,000 a month for renters. And then there's a different program for commercial businesses who can't pay their lease payment and stuff. So you can reach out to the county and get some of that information. So really what I'm trying to stress here is that there are programs, the city's looking out to help you, and so is the county, and all of these were updated as of yesterday. So these are new information I wanted to put out there. And then just some community resources. I know I'm taking a lot of time here, but I just want to let you know that the Palos Verdes Peninsula Transit Authority is offering free rides to seniors and those with disabilities. You can contact PV Transit at 310-965-5831. That's 965-5831. Give them the account number of 12552, and that'll be a free service. Their PV Transit's covering the cost for that. I want to give a big shout out to the chamber and the other 3 cities on the peninsula, because a few weeks back we were brainstorming how to help our local businesses, and I think it was within 24 hours that we launched the Great Peninsula Takeout, also known as Takeout Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think there was a big campaign out there about supporting local businesses. We were like, yeah, let's make it Takeout Tuesdays and Thursdays. Why limit it to just one day? Who wants to cook? And it's a great way to support our local businesses. So we're really pushing that out. We're supporting you. It's Thursday night. So tonight, go out and order takeout from our local eateries. For Rancho Palos Verdes, we've got a lot of information on our city's website. We call it the Open for Business link. You can go find out what the hours are for grocery stores, what restaurants are opening. Like the mayor said, we've been in constant contact with our businesses and trying to update that list so you can see who's open, what their limited hours are by going to the city's website. I understand someone from the school board is on this part of this town hall. I know Linda Reed, a board member, is offering volunteer services. Please contact Linda. Her email address is reidl at pvpusd.net, and the school district and her efforts are trying to connect those who need help and those who want to offer help. So I want to just make that connection with the local volunteer match. And then I want to just wrap things up and just talk about non-COVID-19 matters. Some of the things that are happening here at the city that are germane to our local businesses. Like the mayor said, pre all of this, we were already looking at opportunities and ways to help our local businesses, to help our commercial corridors. Western Avenue is a very important corridor to the city, and we are looking at 3 different areas to work on Western Avenue from an economic development opportunity, from a roadway improvement, improving the traffic and the flow of traffic in that area, and beautification. So those 3 things, despite everything that's going on, we are still moving forward and looking at opportunities to address Western Avenue in those 3 areas. In regards to housing, I think all of our cities in the South Bay in California, we're all dealing with RHNA, which is the Regional Housing Needs Allocation. And I know for Rancho Palos Verdes, our numbers are fluctuating, and that is the number that particularly affordable housing that we need to provide in the next cycle, which is 2021, and it's for 8 years. And so right now we're being told that the the numbers, we need to provide about 900 housing units, and that the peninsula, we don't know where we can support that. So we're working with the state and with the county and trying to address this. We'll probably have to appeal these numbers, but part of that, what we think we think we can provide some housing. And falling back on Western Avenue, we applied for a grant through SB2. We just received word earlier in the week that we were awarded $160,000 to help the city do some zoning and planning to create a mixed use zone along Western Avenue, where we'll have residential and commercial to help with the economic development there. Two more things, and I just want to remind, for our city, we've got the largest, fastest moving landslide in North America, the Portuguese Bend landslide. There've been a lot of efforts to help remediate that landslide. We're still moving forward with that project, and we're in the process of hiring a consultant to help us prepare the environmental documents. And then just yesterday, I got word from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Agency that the city's NCCP, the Natural Communities Conservation Plan, the permit was finally issued. We have spent over 20 years on this plan, and it got adopted by the council in November, and we just got our permit yesterday from the federal agencies. It's huge for the city. It's a big milestone for us, and we look forward, after everything gets lifted here, to having some celebration event outdoors in a group gathering. And with that, I just want to thank everybody. I want to just thank the community for coming together and working together and being helping respond to this health crisis on a unified front. And we will return to our daily routines. We'll get back to socializing and spending time with our friends and family. But for now, just stay home, stay safe, and save lives. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And for those of you who may have missed writing down some of those numbers, we will be sending them out to all the participants tomorrow, all those links and information. And it's, and so if you didn't write down a phone number or an email, all the participants will get that tomorrow. So with that, let me turn it over and into the beautiful city of Rolling Hills Estates. And I just want you guys to know, we did rock, paper, scissors to see who was going to go first. Okay. So I kind of did it myself, but anyway, we kind of did it virtually. Anyway, I am very honored to introduce Mayor Velveth Schmitz. Velveth was elected to the City Council in Rolling Hills Estates in 2015. Prior to that, she had served on a number of the different commissions and councils within the city. She has a business background. I believe she graduated from UC Berkeley. Am I right on that? Okay.
Yes, you are.
And she serves in a variety of volunteer positions with a number of different schools and nonprofits throughout the community. And following Velveth will be City Manager Greg Grammer, who, like Ara, is relatively new in his position, but had been with the city of Rolling Hills Estates for many, many years before that. So he's well versed in our community in the city. So I'm going to turn it over to Velveth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eileen. Thank you very much to the Chamber for having us, and thank you all out there for all of the work that you do to be contributors to our economy, our local economy, and to our community. First, I wanted to take a moment to say I express deep condolences to anyone who has lost somebody to this virus, or those of you who are having to take care of friends and family that may be ill. Thank you to all of you who are essential workers and are out there on a daily basis still keeping our economy going as it can, and for all of your efforts to those frontline workers. I am married to an emergency room doctor, and so I see the level of commitment that all of you have to helping those who need treatment. So thank you for that. We are very lucky, as you can see by the talent in Mayor Cruikshank, as well as a city manager in Ara, that our peninsula really does function very well together. We have in place a community of individuals who, long before this, have plans for emergency response, economic development, looking at the peninsula as a whole. And so while we are 4 cities, we're one community. And the benefit of that has really come through in this crisis. And I have to say that, not that I am surprised, but every day I am delighted at the level with which our community has come together on a variety of ways. So specifically for the City of Rolling Hills Estates, I'm going to let our professional Greg do a lot of the talking, because he not only deserves the credit, but also is such a seasoned professional, and we're lucky to have his talents and his expertise. So before I turn it over to Greg, I wanted to give you a little bit of kudos, which Greg is a very humble, gracious individual, and he will never share these kinds of things. So I'm going to do a little bit of PR for him. So prior to the entire county enacting the Safer at Home Act, Greg was really innovative and creative problem solving with respect to staff and the way that the city would respond. We started having conversations in early March, and as we began to see that things may shift, Greg created response teams. So within the city staff, teams were created for senior services, for our businesses, for safety, as well as recreation. And we kind of looked at different ways that we could support our community. Within those structures came the development of what has been known as our daily COVID updates. On March 5th, we sent out our first update. And the way that that was structured is to ensure that information was flowing to all our constituents. And the important thing during this time is to remember that good quality information is important to have. And we try to distill that to things that would be helpful for our residents and our businesses. And that message was followed by a secondary message, March 13, and we started to see a need for a daily update. So the daily update evolved into any new information is what you see at the header, and everything below gets updated. That can be found on our website, via Twitter, Facebook, or Nextdoor. We're really trying to engage our community in the best way we can. Prior to this, we had had a strategic marketing firm help us to not only determine the kind of communications that work for our citizens and our businesses, we looked at where are individuals most responsive, what platforms is communication being received on and engaged in, and how can we utilize those tools. We took the data from that information and really started to curate communication so that we would be reaching everybody. For a sector of the businesses, it became really important, and it was evident that direct contact is really effective. And so for those of you who know Cameron, he does make a lot of calls every day to check in. Sometimes it's to see if there are supplies that are needed, if we could coordinate help. Sometimes it's to ask any questions. We provide other different kinds of support. We have gone also to help our business with our citizens, sometimes because we have a lot of seniors in our community and they're vulnerable to the virus. We have connected them to businesses, as well as provided a bridge so that individuals can get their medication or grocery shopping or any other kind of support. And as Ara mentioned, Linda Reed, through the school district, started a volunteer bridge. And these are just examples of our community coming together and really having the staff that can think innovatively and proactively and in ways that are really outside the box for what the times are calling for. On top of these things, we, prior to this, started a video series where we would highlight different areas, and one of them has an economic development slant. And so while those videos aren't out yet, we do highlight our businesses and wanted to call attention to those in these very well produced videos. So more of that information will be coming out. There will be a brochure that goes along with it. And for us, you know, really, we're a small city. And so our constituents and our citizens happen to be our business owners and our friends and families. So for us, we do operate very thoughtfully with how can our entire ecosystem support one another, both the businesses in working in conjunction with us. I had the pleasure of sitting on the Economic Development Committee for 2 years, and I have to tell you that the members of the chamber and everyone else who does sit on all of these panels are really a dedicated, thoughtful, committed group of people who try to find ways to connect broader community with our businesses and support them. And certainly these times aren't going to stop that. I think that one of the opportunities that a good crisis presents is to give us the ability to be creative, to think outside the box and to start to develop things that maybe when things shift, we have learned some new best practices that we continue to implement. So I'm going to turn it over to Greg to talk through the logistics of everything the city is doing. But I want you to know that we are all here. We are engaged in this effort. And we really, there's a deep caring for our community. I know for many of us, we have been lucky enough to have family be members of this community for many generations. And we really, this is our home that we're working to not just protect, but also help thrive during these times. So I hope that you feel that we are accessible. I hope that you feel that you can come to us with a variety of things, and that if we don't have the answer for you, we'll certainly find it. And I wanted to say in front of all of you, thank you, Greg, for your leadership throughout the peninsula, as well as with all of the incredible things that you're doing down at City Hall and with our staff. We are all the beneficiaries for it. So I'll let you brag a little bit about all the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Velveth. Thank you, Mayor. All right, Greg.
Well, thank you, Mayor Schmitz, for the kind words and for your leadership. Over the last month or so, a little bit more than that, the mayor and I have been speaking every day, multiple times a day, as things unfold. And thank you, Eileen, and the Chamber of Commerce for hosting us today. It's important that we stay connected to the business community at this time, especially. Our commercial district is the heart of the Hill, and that was one of the reasons why, as the mayor had mentioned, we established some staff teams here at City Hall to address some specific areas of concern, one of them being the business community. And so I've got a team of staff who is reaching out to various businesses just to check in, find out how they're doing, what they need, point them to some of the resources that Ara had mentioned that we also have on our website to see what it is that we can do and we can offer. And as Ara had mentioned, we're really pushing and promoting the Great Peninsula Takeout to really encourage our residents to take out food from the local restaurants on Tuesdays and Thursdays, either lunch or dinner. We also established, as the mayor alluded to, a communications team, because we knew that there was a lot of information coming from a lot of sources, and it was really important for residents and businesses to have accurate information. And so we also send out these daily updates that residents can trust that they're coming from reliable sources. We also have established a business continuity team to make sure that we can continue to provide all the essential services that our residents come to expect, making sure that trash is picked up. If they're having issues with that, to have someone here at City Hall that they can reach out to. We're still issuing permits, reviewing plans, doing plan check, just about any type of service that residents have become accustomed to receiving from City Hall, we're still providing. There's only a few of us here at City Hall, about 2 or 3 on any one day. Everyone else is working remotely from home, but it has been working well. We've also been working really closely with the Sheriff's Department and our captain, and if he's on, I want to give him a shout out and thank him for all of his support. He and I speak on a regular basis, as do the other city managers. We've directed the Sheriff's Department to increase patrol in our city, particularly in our commercial district. So you'll probably be seeing more sheriff's presence here the last several weeks than you may have before, monitoring our grocery stores, attending the farmers market on Sunday, checking in on some of the shops that may be closed, making sure that things are okay there. The other team that we put together was a senior support team. The city of Rolling Hills Estates, like the other cities on the Hill, have a very large senior population. Over 25% of our population is 65 and older. And so we wanted to make sure that their needs were being addressed. And so we've put together, working with the other cities, as well as Peninsula Seniors, Palos Verdes Peninsula Village, HELP, a senior resource guide that we are distributing far and wide to everybody, that will direct seniors to the information that they need, perhaps about grocery delivery or mental health assistance and things like that. And also providing that information to our homeowners associations and other groups so that they can then provide information if they get asked questions from their senior residents. we're also looking at putting together some care packages for our seniors. Ara had alluded to the CDBG funds under the CARES Act that cities receive. As a smaller city, we get a much smaller portion since it's on a, handed out on a per capita basis, but there are some funds available. And so we're looking at putting together some, as I mentioned, some senior care packages, provide some senior activities or online activities that they can participate in. And we hope to be getting that out here in the next several weeks. I'll also mention that work is continuing, as you've seen with the Cal Water Project. They pretty much finished the installation of their pipeline. They're doing some finishing work now over the next several weeks, but the traffic is now open in both directions on Rancho Boulevard, which we're all grateful for. They have some finishing work that they'll be doing, as I mentioned, some on PB Drive North and some residential streets. They're also doing work on the pump station. They will be doing some finishing work at the intersection of Silver Spur and Crenshaw starting on Friday and into the weekend, but the intersection is open. And then as you see, for those of you who are still coming into the commercial district, Merrill Gardens project is moving forward. We're expecting them to open in early summer. I think that's about all the other updates that I have. I know we're getting a little close to the end. I want to make sure that we leave enough time for questions. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for that very succinct condensation of a lot of material. So yes, let's open it up for questions. I do want to, before we do that though, give a shout out to both cities and particularly to Greg and Ara. They have been phenomenal working with the Chamber on all of these issues. We obviously would have loved to have also included the beautiful city of Palos Verdes Estates and Rolling Hills in this session, but as you can see, we would not have had enough time. So we are hopeful that we are doing these sessions every week on Thursdays at 1 o'clock. And so we are hopeful that down the road, we'll be able to do a similar kind of virtual town hall with those two cities and perhaps fold in the library and the schools and things like that, just so that we can keep our businesses connected with all the information. The first question that is on everyone's mind, and every business person, everybody who's working, every employee, is what are you seeing? I know we don't have a crystal ball, and we know we all listen to Dr. Ferrer every day from this, LA County Department of Public Health. What are you sensing? What are you seeing? How are you as cities going to make that decision as to when we can reopen? And what do you think it looks like? We all know it's going to be gradual, but I sense that a lot of our businesses are getting increasingly concerned that we're really not hearing much of anything other than a lot of, we'll make that decision down the road. So what can you share with us from your own perspective, realizing that no one has a crystal ball? Anybody want to take that one first?
I was thinking Velveth wanted to take that one first.
Yeah, and since I've been nominated,
no one wants this question. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a couple of things that that give me a little bit of respite, and I'm grateful that not one person has definitively said this is what it's going to look like, because I do appreciate that at our local level, at the county level, at our state level, all of the individuals who are tasked with making these kinds of decisions are really basing it on the science and what we're finding out. I know that I feel like Dr. Barbara Ferrer is one of my friends, since I listen to her maybe 7 times a day. And now I feel like I know her and I want to hug her. And she's like, who are you? But from the very beginning, I enjoy her very equanimous approach to how science is delivered and the information is given. When it is delivered through the public, it is done with grace and honesty, and I don't think that she holds back. So there's the truth that she shares with us. Right now, we have a wonderful amount of studies out who are looking at antibodies, that are looking at different ways of herd immunity, maybe vaccination, et cetera. And I think with the thoughtful way we've approached safer at home and the iteration to what that looks like, I think there's also a thoughtful approach for how we'll come out. About a couple of days ago, the governor started having conversations with what it would look like for the state. that will trickle down to the county, and the county will start having conversations about what that looks like for our county. And during each of those layers, the 88 mayors in Los Angeles have been getting together to have discussions for what that does look like for each of our cities vis-a-vis the county. And so the steps and the conversations that we're having are involving, first and foremost, the safety of all of our residents, and second, the economic use of and support of all of our businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so really that sweet spot's going to be where we can have businesses reopen and have patrons visit those businesses, start using those businesses in a safe manner. And I think one of the things that I am really interested in and that I appreciate is that we do have individuals making those decisions that are willing to think outside the box. And in our mayor's meetings with, usually the lead is taken by Mayor Garcetti. That's one of the biggest cities, obviously, city of LA, within the 88 cities. There is a coordinated effort to have those conversations, and he very much understands, like I think the Board of Supervisors understand, that we are so interconnected. We couldn't quite open one city up and not the other. It's going to have to be really a concerted effort. So I do, those conversations are being had. There's not a definitive answer for what that looks like, but I hope that as I'm answering this, you have some sort of solace in this, in the sense that the conversations are happening. There's nothing quite set as a plan yet, but I am encouraged by the forward thinking that's happening well into summer, fall, and the rest of what this looks like. So not quite a clear answer, but I hope that gives you some parameters or framework for how the conversations are occurring.
Thank you. Does anyone from RPV want to just weigh in quickly on that? And then we'll do one or two more quick questions before we have to wrap up by 2. So Ara or John, do you want to add anything to Velveth's comment?
I'll add quickly as all the ambulances are rolling by my window here. I would add to this, and know it's very frustrating, and I'm a business owner and I get very frustrated. Once again, I think that the term essential is the wrong term in terms of business. I personally think that anyone that goes to earn a living for their family is essential. So I have a little different take than trying to put a nice little box around what's essential in the world. And like I said earlier, I believe that, of course, what the doctors are saying is important, but I also think that business owners and consumers can help us with this. I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all. And so, like for me, we have a quote-unquote essential business doing engineering, and nobody else has gotten sick here because we're all practicing being safe. And I believe and I trust in our businesses to be able to do that. So we really do need the help of the business community to reopen. But, you know, like the mayor of Rolling Hills Estates and we really don't have much say in this matter because we're being given edicts from all the governments above us, starting from the feds all the way to LA County. So we're rooting for the business community to reopen, but we've got to do it correctly.
Thank you for that. That's very helpful. And I really like what you said, Mayor, about every business is essential. I think that means a lot to our businesses. And, you know, please know that the Chamber stands ready to work with all of you when we get that okay from the county, you know, or Governor Newsom, to work with you on implementing. We can start now on developing and implementing safe plans so that we can get people back to work, and we will work very hard with you to get that information out to our businesses. Because as we've seen, our community wants to cooperate, but we also want to get back to business while there's still business to get back to. Thank you for that. There are a couple of other questions which are kind of specific to specific businesses, so I'm going to put those aside and I will answer you via email. I do have one question from, I don't know who it's from, it says anonymous. Do you have information on SBA loan assistance? I'm going to ask you to reach out to me personally because I will be happy to work through with you on that. Unfortunately, earlier today, the U.S. Small Business Administration announced that PPP and EIDL loans are closed. They have run through all the funding. It was $350 billion or $349 billion for PPP, and I forget how many billions for EIDL, and those are closed. So we started work a week ago lobbying and advocating for with our U.S. senators and our congressmen to please, you know, to do everything they can to hopefully open up a second round of funding for PPP and IDLES, and we also hope that Chambers of Commerce will be included in the PPP program if there is a phase 4 funding. So long answer to your question. I know we are approaching 2 o'clock, so I'm going to wrap up quickly. And again, just if you have any questions that didn't get answered, email me and we'll get you answers. Again, I want to thank Mayor Cruikshank, Mayor Schmitz, City Managers Mihranian and Grammer for spending time with us today. I want to thank all of our participants for taking time out of your day to be with us. Another great session. Please join us next Thursday at 1 o'clock. We're actually very excited to be hosting Dr. Lawrence Scher from Palos Verdes Medical Group, who Ara mentioned. He's doing the COVID testing up on the roof of the promenade by appointment, and he is a specialist in allergy, immunology, and asthma, and does a lot of clinical research. So he will have some very interesting things to say to us from his perspective on this whole situation. Finally, please check your emails. The Chamber is sending out a lot of information to you in e-newsletters and e-blasts almost on a daily basis. Follow us on social media and check our website as well for Chamber member news, pertaining to this. Again, we're posting all your things about being open and the special services that you're offering. I think that's it. Thank you also to Tony Self from Harcourt's Hunter Mason Realty for making these sessions possible on Zoom. There he is waving. And last but not least, for those of you who want to hear even more, I would suggest that right now you can go to facebook.com/Moritsuchi. Our Congressman, Ted Lieu, our Senator Ben Allen, and our Assemblymember Al Moritsuchi, the three of them have joined together, and they're doing a live stream virtual town hall. So if you want to hear more, go to their site. We were honored to have Congressman Lieu last week in the session as well. So, but today it was so wonderful to get this local information, so important. So thank you to our cities, thank you to our businesses, and know that the Chamber of Commerce is here for you. We are committed to helping you, not just now, but going forward as well when we start to reopen the economy and reopen our businesses. So thank you so much. Stay well and have a good afternoon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.